right now at the banks of one of the greatest holidays of the year. A holiday called Shavuot. It's a holiday that commemorates the greatest day ever. One time in history, God revealed himself to the Jewish people. Once. And only once. National revelation. Mass revelation. One time in the history of the world did God do that. Gave us the book, the overwhelming spring of wisdom that civilized humanity. A small little mountain in the Sinai desert. And we have a holiday that commemorates that. We believe in our cores that our holidays don't commemorate. They relive spiritual experiences. And so every year we relive the story. That's why on Shavuot morning, we read the Ten Commandments. We read about the story. And the rabbis teach us that in a spiritual sense, we're reliving it. The light show may not be as strong. The thunder may not come out. But spiritually, we are getting the Torah again every single year. And so the whole goal of the holiday is to sort of spiritually relive the experience. Now, we do something very interesting. It's one of the strangest customs of the year. The night before that we read the Torah, the first night, we stay up all night. Many people have a custom. They stay up all night and they study and they learn or they read or they do something and stay up the entire night so that they can basically daven the first possible second, but they're up all night. And when you ask somebody, why are you up all night for? They say, because when the Jews got the Torah, they overslept. Moses had to literally wake them up. And because they overslept on that first ever giving of the Torah, we stay up so that's why we won't oversleep. We're like rectifying that mistake. Sounds okay. But does it make much sense? The Jews overslept? For real? You think they overslept? Think a bunch of slaves that were in slavery for 210 years, 209 years, with no way out ever, and then Moshe shows up, says, I spoke to God, and it's going to be amazing, like sit back and watch, this next year is going to rock. And this nation of slaves watches God show up, goes 10 rounds with Paro, knocks him out, the coolest place you've ever seen, the whole Egypt's upside down, blood, frogs, locusts, forget about it. Then walks out and God's like, you thought that was cool? Wait, you're in the best Pesach program ever. Wait for night activity. And then he splits a sea. Those people meets God and God's killing it. Hangs out in the desert. Clouds of glory, AC turned up perfectly. Manna from heaven, an overflowing spring. Those people who's got all that and they get to meet God and they're like, yeah, I don't know. It's early. I mean, come on. You know what? I'm sure he'll be there still at 9. I'll catch the back end of the program. Really? It's fine. I'm tired. Like, listen, it's exhausting. We did a lot last night. What did they do? They're in the desert. There's no Wi-Fi. They weren't watching Netflix. They didn't go anywhere. They're sitting around doing nothing all day. They're just waiting to speak to God. And the day that he shows up, that they're preparing for, they oversleep. Could that possibly be? And us, we're like fixing the problem that they overslept because they saw God. How could they possibly have overslept? So I heard a beautiful idea in the name of Rav Schwab. Rav Schwab says they didn't oversleep. They went to sleep. You know, we don't live in this time. Hopefully we will soon. But there's a time of where there was prophecy. Now, when someone was a prophet, they didn't just like walk. They weren't just like walking down the street, and all of a sudden, like they hear like and they're like, and he's like, Yeshaya, Yecheskel, and he's like, they're like, yeah, God. It's like, go left. It didn't work that way. It wasn't like they're like God's like knocking you. Hi, yeah. On Tuesday at 2:00, there will be a famine, and they're like, thanks, appreciate the hookup. That's not how it worked. The way it worked was they would go into a meditative state. They would almost like disengage their body with the physical world, and they would be in a meditative mindset. Moses was the only one that had to do that, which is why he was above all the prophets. When someone received prophecy, part of the prophecy was them shutting down their physicalness that allowed the spirituality to flow through. They went into a sleep. Because for a prophet to accept the prophecy, he had to shut his physicalness. The Jewish people looked around and said, we're seeing God tomorrow. We're a bunch of nobodies. 2 years ago, we were serving idols. We know how God wants us to do this. There's no way we're going to be able to see God. What are we, Moses? Here's how we're going to do it. We're going to shut off our physical. That's how God sees us. We're going to shut the whole thing down. We're going to go into a sleep in which we have no physical needs. We're not physically conscious. We have no physicality. Because if God's going to reveal himself to us, it must be when we are purely spiritual. They didn't oversleep like, the alarm didn't go off. The sleep cycle on the iPhone wasn't invented yet. They went to bed and they went to sleep knowing that the only way they can possibly relate to God is if they shut down their physical selves. They downplay their desires and their lusts and their normalcy for a meditative life. They lived, if you will, on a mountaintop. And Moshe had to go down to each and every one of them and got something that goes, no, you're missing it. The Torah isn't meant for angels. There's a major fight that took place in heaven in which the angels didn't want to give the Torah to Moshe. And the winning argument wasn't that we're better than angels. The winning argument is that we're worse than angels. Not worse as like they're beating us, but we're more frail. We are more flawed. We are more physical than angels. The goal of Torah isn't to be given to angels. The goal of Torah is to be given to humans with problems, with insecurities, with flaws. Torah is the ultimate coach. And what does the ultimate coach want more than a player that they can coach? And Moshe had to go around and explain to the Jewish people, no, you don't get it. God's not looking just for your souls. God's not looking for your perfection. God just wants you. All of you. Every little bit of you. Your goods and your bads. Your pluses and your minuses. Your accomplishments and your failures. Your flaws. Your insecurities. He just wants you to know that if you engage in this Torah, you'll be able to fix it. You'll be able to grow every day. You'll be able to be a bigger person. One of the great mistakes we make is we think that spirituality is the negation of the physical. It's not true. Spirituality isn't the negation of physical, it's the elevation of physical. God wants us to have incredible relationships. God wants us to be connected to all the different types of people in our world. God wants us to enjoy this world, but in a specific way that builds us and doesn't destroy us. That elevates us and doesn't take us down into the pits. But to do that, we have to come to him with who we are and say, I'm here, coach me. I'm here, Torah. Help me figure out what's next. Give me the wisdom to become the best parent, the best spouse, the best friend, the best son, the best worker, the best employer. Give me the wisdom to become the best mix of spiritual and physical that I can be. There's a great quote by a coach named Mike Holmgren. Mike Holmgren was the quarterback's coach for the 49ers when Joe Montana was already Joe Montana. And he got in the first innings dealing with what will be for sure a Hall of Famer. And he walks in the locker room and Montana looks at me and goes, hey, don't take it easy on me. You better coach me hard. And Mike Holmgren said that was one of the most defining moments of his career. Joe Montana wants him to coach him hard. And if Joe Montana wants to be coached hard when he's Joe Montana, then every single player afterwards better be coached hard. But only later did he realize that only the greats want to be coached hard. Michael Jordan now in the famous documentary The Last Dance, is known to be saying to every coach, coach me as hard as you can, because great players know that they're flawed and they want to fix it. They're okay being not perfect. They just want to be coached. And that's really what Shavuos is about. We don't stay up all night because we're fixing their mistakes because they overslept. We're staying up all night because we're fixing the mistakes and thinking that God only cares about their soul and not their body. We're up all night saying, we're bringing you our body too, Hashem. I'm bringing you all of me. And if I've got to fight my sleep, if I've got to fight every bit of my physicalness to get to that mountaintop, I may be dozing off in shul, it don't matter. I'm bringing you all of me. Coach me, build me, help me, grow me. If a Jew stands before God on Shavuos Day, whether you stayed up all night or you didn't, and can have a moment of raw truth where they can look at their lives and go, I'm not perfect, but I want to be better. You can look up and say, today is the day, God, that you gave us the book that has more wisdom in it than anything in the world. Coach me, help me, allow me to learn this wisdom, allow me to let it guide my life. Give me a chance to taste your wisdom so that I can take this incredible thing called a body with all of its flaws and raise it up to make it spiritual as well. And if we come to God with that, with sincerity, with an authentic moment, and we can make a commitment to Him, from now on I'm going to study this much more, and we don't look back, believe in my heart that God looks at and goes, you guys finally got it. I want all of you because I want to coach you, because I'm the ultimate coach, and I know that each and every one of you is a Hall of Famer. Have a happy Shavuot, a good Yontif, happy holidays, and may we be able to stand together and to look at the greatest coach, look into that book of wisdom, and become the people that we're meant to be.